Medical establishment does not like alternative medicine. In the 19th century, there were two types of medical practitioners in the U.S., allopathic doctors and alternative healers. Allopathic doctors diagnose and treat illnesses with pharmaceuticals, surgery, and other conventional methods. Alternative healers used natural remedies. Since anybody could claim to be a healer, many did. Natural healers were cheaper and plentiful. Mainstream doctors weren't making any money. So in 1847, they formed a trade union called the American Medical Association, the AMA.
The AMA started out as a union?
Yep.
Isn't a union's job to protect the interests of its members?
It is. So in 1901, the Journal of the American Medical Association released a statement.
The growth of the profession must be stemmed if individual members are to find the practice of medicine a lucrative profession.
So the AMA was created so doctors can make more money?
That's right.
Isn't this corrupt?
I'm not judging, I'm just telling you what happened. The AMA brought in the Carnegie Foundation to survey medical schools. In 1910, they released a report calling for standardizing medical training and eliminating non-scientific practices.
And who determines what's scientific?
The AMA does.
Of course.
Schools teaching alternative medicine were forced to drop these courses or lose funding and their ability to grant an MD. This led to a significant reduction in medical schools.
They offered tremendous amounts of money to the schools that would agree to cooperate with them. Almost overnight, all of the major universities received large grants from these sources and also accepted 1, 2, or 3 of these people that I mentioned on their board of directors, and the schools literally were taken over by the financial interests that put up the money.
In 1904, there were 160 schools granting MDs to more than 28,000 students. By 1920, only 85 medical schools were left. By 1935, the number had dropped to just 66.
New awareness of past injustices in many parts of our society. That's true in the fields of science and medicine, which are starting to look more carefully at their own history.
Most medical schools for blacks and all medical schools for women were now closed. So if you were black or a woman, becoming an MD and getting into the AMA was difficult.
The American Medical Association is one of the country's oldest, largest, and best-known associations of doctors. Its voice has long been influential, but now the AMA is finally beginning to come to terms with racism in its own past.
The doctor is the only one entitled by training, by experience, and by law to take care of the sick.
The AMA established allopathic medicine as the only acceptable type of medicine to practice. Alternative medicine was marginalized and in some cases made illegal.
Even if the natural medicine worked?
Yep.
This is bad.
It gets worse.
It always does.
The doctors from that point forward in history would be taught pharmaceutical drugs. All of the great teaching institutions in America were captured by the pharmaceutical interests in this fashion, and it's amazing how little money it really took to do it.
Every time a new type of alternative medicine was introduced, the AMA would attack. George Doc Simmons was head of the AMA from 1900 to 1924, and Morris Fishbein from 1924 to 1949. They labeled alternative practitioners as quacks and used the Journal of the American Medical Association to ruin the reputations of anyone they deemed a threat to mainstream medicine. The FDA was formed in 1906, but it wasn't until 1962 that drug companies had to prove their products worked and were safe. Before then, pharmaceutical companies needed the AMA seal of approval.
And how did the drugs get approved? Yeah, I should have seen that coming.
If you were a drug company and wanted to get into the Journal of the AMA, you had to pay. That was it. The AMA didn't test drugs for safety or efficacy. They had no labs or researchers. The AMA just collected money. Oh, the AMA leaders would buy stock in that drug company before endorsing the drug, so they can cash in when the stock price went up.